Hey guys, Kyle here. So, just before the show starts, I wanted to mention our Patreon. You can pay us $1 a month as a thank you, as a tip. You can pay $2 a month to get access to one of our bonus content shows, episodes 2 days early, and a secret Discord chat where all of our Patreon donors get to go and hang out and talk with us directly. Then there's a $5 tier that you can donate to get access to a whole bunch more content. We have multiple bonus episodes on there. So please check it out. Patreon.com/itgetsweird. We don't advertise, we don't make money. So check it out and throw some money if you think that would be cool. Thanks. Welcome to It Gets Weird, our comedy show where we explore the unusual, the unbelievable, and the unexplained to try and make your world a little weirder. I'm Kyle.
And I'm Niall. And Kyle, I don't know if you know about this, but we have a sponsorship this week.
Do we? Wait,
yeah.
no, stop.
What?
This is usually my thing.
I know, but I've seen all the great wheeling and dealing you've done. You consider yourself a bit of a master of the deal.
I'm a businessman. Yeah.
Yeah, you've read Art of the Deal. And
fuck.
So I figured I would take a page out of your book and get us in tune with the Gex Trilogy remaster coming out on all consoles later this year. So all you Gex heads, all you lizard-brained people out there, and not in the way, like, here's the thing. I told them we talk about lizards a lot on this show.
Yeah.
I didn't specifically say it was anti-Semitic conspiracy theories, but so I kind of got this under false pretenses, but I do think that we really embody the spirit of the gecko on this podcast. And as a Gex head myself, being my favorite platformer on the N64, I think we can all. I think this is the perfect place to talk about Gex and all of his games.
Sorry, you're telling me that not only do we have Gex money in this Johnson right now, but they don't know that it's like dark Gex money.
Yeah, we got Gex money from the dark budget, from the black budget of whatever fucking re-releasing company.
Oh wow, that's awesome. So wait, you're not like a Glover guy?
No, I never played Glover really. I think I've technically tried it for like 20 minutes one time, but I did not own Super Mario 64 despite having an N64. I never owned that. I never played, like, I played Donkey Kong 64.
It's a good game.
And Gex. Those were my platformers.
People hate that. People say they like Donkey Kong 64 actually not very good. First of all, fuck you. Second of all, I really like that game. I actually have very fond memories of my babysitter when we were at her house would have a copy of Donkey Kong 64 and we would just play the multiplayer and I would get like 45 minutes of that before they were like, all right, you need to do your homework or whatever.
For those that don't remember, there's a multiplayer mode on Donkey Kong 64 that is very much an attempt at making Donkey Kong into GoldenEye. And it's so you just have like different guns with the different monkeys.
Yeah, and I always played Diddy, which
he's got the pop guns.
He's got the pop guns, and I just want to also nip this in the bud. Please do not clip what I just said out of context. I played Diddy Kong, I should have said.
Yeah.
So I just want to get that out of the way. Now, I'm ecstatic that we've got Gex on the Sode. That's what I call episodes these days. And it's kismet, frankly. It's unbelievable that you should bring Gex to the table because we are going to talk about the reptilians today.
Oh, really?
No joke.
Okay. This is one of those times where I feel like I have to say that the whole thing about us not communicating what the episode's about before we start and not planning like any of this is not a bit. This is
I insist
entirely
it is not a bit.
This is all off the dome.
I think it's just we've developed that psychic connection, something that I kind of convinced myself was not possible. But after all this time, doing these episodes, talking about Stargate Project and stuff, I'm beginning to think maybe there's something to the psychic connection idea, because sometimes we just nail it. It's really something else.
We really have become the podcasters who stare at goats.
It's true. It's true. No, so I did this episode when I found a particular website.
Okay.
And that's Facebook.com.
Google.com.
Yeah.
I was going to say.
Yeah. No, I was just thinking, like, it's been a while since we've taken a dive into fringe conspiracy theory. So I wanted to just get into some conspiracy nonsense, check up on some conspiracy stuff. So there's going to be part of this that are things that we have talked about before, but I was so happy to find some new flavors, some new tastes that we've never experienced before, that I was pretty amazed by some of these.
Hell yeah.
So yeah, let me drop some truth bombs on you, because this week we're going to learn about Truthism.com. Now there is another website called, I think, Truthism.com, not the same thing. Truthism, okay. This website doesn't exist anymore. It's all archived on the Internet Archive. So that's the only way you can access it right now. I saw some rumblings online, like on Reddit, where people were saying, is Truthism.com. People were, it was actually in the subreddit for Tor browser like stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And so it was basically people saying, hey, I've heard of this website called Truthism. Is it on the dark web?
Yeah, is it Truthism.onion? Yeah.
And people were saying, no, it's not on the dark web. That website's nonsense. And, you can access it on the archives. So apparently at some point, somewhere in an online community, I'm going to assume like a 4chan, people were spreading the website as if it was some scary, freaky website.
The idea of a conspiracy brained person who is looking for something and they think to go and check if it's on the dark web before they look at the internet. Like, if they know about the dark web but not the Internet Archive, I do think that is like fundamentally you've like missed a step in your internet education.
Yeah. Well, so I think I can demystify that a little bit, because there is a subset of YouTube content that I have seen a little bit of that's just remarkably terrible, of people who will be like, today I'm going to browse the deep web and I'm going to show you all the crazy websites from this week. We have a hitman and a red room and like, just to cut to the chase here, none of that shit's real, really. Lots of people making these unindexed websites that say a bunch of crazy shit that freaks people out, and then you have this cycle of people who can then create YouTube content about it, and it sucks.
It's a cottage industry.
So yeah, so I'm assuming that those people skip the step by watching YouTube videos. That's my guess. But
yeah, I guess I should. Anytime something is like, how did you come to that conclusion?
Yeah.
I really should just assume they went down the wrong rabbit hole.
Weird rabbit hole, yeah. And like, those people also don't know, like, it gets sold in that circle of YouTubing as a genuinely scary place full of sinister content. And that's not true. It doesn't make you like completely, untraceable. None of those things are accurate. So the deep web shit is silly. So anyways, Truthism.com. As far as I can tell, the author of this website was anonymous, and its last updates came around the summer of 2014. Now, the site is one gigantic scrolling screed of conspiracy truth bombs. That's the whole thing.
As it should be.
Forget links to other pages on the site. You'll find no links to other pages on the site. Here, this author, who I'm going to assume is a man, was ahead of their time with the single page web application design pattern for sure. And my assumption about them being a man is because they have some really unfriendly shit to say about women. Just throwing that out there, letting people know. I would argue that misogyny is part and parcel of their worldview. In fact, they say as such later. So, heads up on that. Mm-hmm. But here's the thing. When we get to the women's section of this person's conspiracy website, it's like a punchline. So you have that to look forward to. It's almost like a punchline. You'll see what I mean. So here's how the site opens, and I want you to prepare to have your mind blown wide open. Okay.
Here's the thing. I'm feeling a little closed off today, so I think it'd really help if you can open that up and get some sunshine coming in on my brain.
Yeah. Let's open it up. The information on this website is, in fact, not crap, nonsense, or conspiracy theories. Attempting to hold on to your existing worldview would not be a wise decision. So, either accept the truth now or continue to suffocate in ignorance and mental slavery. In order to grasp the truth, you must use your free will and freedom of thought. Do not let your mind get trapped within the religious or scientific paradigms. Religion and science are simply forms of control that were created by the ruling elite long before you were born. And thus, it is a shame that after being born on this planet, you were raised on either of those two lies.
It's very funny. Like, we could unpack that for some time.
Yeah.
But the thing that really sticks out to me is that I think is just funny is I love framing something as super important or whatever because it's been around longer since before you were born. Because, like, in the span of time, that's not that long. Like, none of us, at most, that's going to be about 100 years ago, which is at like, most, that's old, but it's not like ancient, like it's trying to like make something sound really imposing and threatening and important and massive by saying before you were born, it's 30 years old, huh? Okay, why do I care?
Yeah, well, and here's the thing. This website, I'm saving you the trouble because I would say like 60 to 70% of it kind of is how that just sounded, where it tells you that you're being lied to. A number of times it will just drop the act and tell you that you're foolish for believing what you believe, like address you, the reader, and say like you're an idiot for not believing in this stuff.
Yeah.
And here's why. And the other aspect of the site is they like, how do I describe this? They do this sort of like pseudo logic, or at least what they think of as logic. They, a lot of it will be like, in fact, they hammer home the whole, these things happened before you were born, so how could you know about them? They hammer that home a lot.
Mm-hmm.
In this really weird way where they seem to think that they're doing some sort of like logic trap where they say, you assume that all history is like all the history that you've been taught is true and all the science from that history is true. But all those things came well before you were born. So how could you know they're true? Checkmate. And there's a million sentences on this website that are exactly like that.
It's like the entire, it falls down the whole logical leap that flat eartherism takes, where it's like, you got to only believe what you can empirically see with your eyes. Well, I'm not like a trained biologist, physicist. Like there are people that I can trust to know these things better than me.
Yes.
And like your eyes are also quite fallible. Look at any eyewitness report of like any crime. It's not like it seems technically, quote, logical in a way that only makes sense. Like, there's that thing where people say, man, this logic must really hit if you're stupid.
Yeah, that's exactly right. Yes.
Yeah, like this goes so hard if you're stupid,
Yes, it's you've nailed it. And yeah, I always make the argument when people say, use what you can see, and that's what's true. And my counter to that is always the flat earther observes the earth as flat, and that to them is what's true. But we also know that's not true. Like, scientific consensus for a very long time and many different experiments and you know, it can all prove that the earth is not flat. We know this for a fact. But if you were just a casual observer walking around, you know, a random town in the United States or wherever you are, you could look at the earth from where you are and go, wow, that looks flat to me.
Yeah.
So it can't all be purely your visual perspective of things. There's other factors to consider when it comes to truth. So yeah, but this person is very much falling into the stupid person's logic trap. So it goes on here to say, naturally, since you've been lied to about reality your entire life, any truthful revelations contradicting your false worldview may indeed appear to be far-fetched. But to make things even worse, human beings are stubborn creatures who let their egos override everything else. Instead of learning about what new information that does not fit within your current worldview, you would rather exercise your ego by letting others know what is and is not possible, merely based upon your personal knowledge and feeble understanding of what actually exists. Now, this is all ironic considering that the website feels like one of the biggest ego flexes I've ever read in the conspiracy world.
This is totally you guys are all stupid and I'm so smart and elevated and you have to listen to me and I'm so like this entire website is masturbatory.
Oh yeah. I mean, it never says I am the hero who's opening up your mind here, but it so often tells you how stupid you are for believing science and stuff that you can't help but assume that this is just, you know, what this person believes about everybody else.
Yeah.
We also get a warning that says, warning, upon arriving at this website, you most likely have the strong instinctual urge to automatically defend your current belief system and to reject all this information. But realize that attempting to use your belief system to filter out this information is, in fact, a nonsensical paradox, because it is your very belief system that is at issue here. Thus, instead of using a belief system to do your thinking for you, think for yourself via using your own brain. Hopefully you have one. By the way, that's not what a paradox is, but whatever.
That's... This is so... I've argued with this person so many times in school. Like,
yeah.
It's such a specific person that thinks that, like, they learned like 4 words that sound smart and they just spam them in conversation, and paradox is one of them, and logical fallacy is
paradox, what's the other one? Rationalist.
Yeah.
They say a lot. Thus gets dropped a lot.
Yeah. This person has memorized the names of the different logical fallacies.
Yes.
You know?
Sorry, Niall, you think this person's stupid? Is that what you're telling me?
Look, if it talks like a duck, quacks like a duck, looks like a duck, and
it's whatever. A moron.
Yeah. There you go.
Well, fuck you for that, because they have, if you were wondering if they were actually smart, they actually have a quote right after their warning from the infamous philosopher of pessimism, Arthur Schopenhauer.
Okay.
Which is simply, all truth passes through 3 stages. First, it is ridiculed. Second, it is violently opposed. Third, it is accepted as being self-evident. Yep. Now, I looked into this because I've actually read a little bit of Schopenhauer. It didn't sound quite like him to me. I was assuming it was a translation thing. Long story short, it's actually not what he said. In fact, this exact quote has been misattributed to him for over 100 years or so.
Since before you were born.
Since before I was born, so how could I know that for sure? But my research does suggest that's the case. He said something similar, but in essence very different from this. I don't need to explain it, but the point is he didn't actually say that. But, we wouldn't be a conspiracy website without these, pompous misuses of catchy philosophy slogans. So
yeah, look, what are you saying, that A to Z quotes gets these things wrong? What are you talking about? Trust your brain.
I actually look up my Schopenhauer quotes on Rap Genius.
There you
usually.
Go. Well, there you get the annotations, which is helpful.
Right. Exactly. Here, Schopenhauer was very clearly feeling pessimistic about the world.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. I get it now. That's good. So the site is segmented into sections, and the first handful of sections are things like how human beings deny the truth, the great contradiction of you so-called rationalists, and worshipping authority.
I love that he knew enough to divide it into sections, but not enough to put those sections on different web pages.
Yeah. It's not only not divide, like not only did they not put them onto separate things that would organize the information better, the sequencing of it is extremely weird too, where you get another set of screeds about humanity's frail understanding of reality, and it's at the top of the page, and then in the middle of it, and then at the bottom and in between that there's a bunch of other shit.
Fantastic.
So it's a little messy. But these are long-winded paragraphs. And you can basically just boil them down to the classic conspiracy theorist credo. That would be things like how people take the truth fed them by the media as absolute fact, how we love to dismiss truth messengers, which that's going to be a recurring term, truth messenger. Presumably the person writing this is a truth messenger. How we dismiss...
You may think you're a truth messenger, but I'm a blues traveler, and I think that's more important. You know,
I would be inclined to agree with you. They talk about how we dismiss truths by painting them as bizarre or fringe, and even a little bit how it's unfair that people, quote, blow off the truth by calling it nonsense, funny, hilarious, or entertaining.
This guy has tried to give his thoughts to a classroom before and gotten laughed at. Like the whole like, yeah, it's you can't, if you think it's funny, then you're just not intellectual. Like, it's such an I'm not owned kind of vibe coming through every sentence of this.
This person's straight up shrinking into a corn cob, the entire website. So here's another little snippet. I have a handful of these snippets that I thought were interesting. You do not have access to top secret government information or to top secret government facilities. That's true. Mm-hmm. That's true. Yeah. I can't argue that. Nor are you a member of any of Earth's secret societies. Well,
but you know,
mum's the word. Yeah, I'm keeping that close to the chest. In addition, and here we go, you were not born 5,000 years ago. You were born only within the last 100 years. So you are not able to see history unfold with your own eyes, which, again, that's the only thing that's worth anything.
Neither were you. Like, the guy writing this.
And that's the thing with this website that is so annoying, is they insist all this stuff and then they never offer up any legitimate rationale for any of it, because there isn't. But like, you know how some of these people will try to rationalize these beliefs. I don't know what this person thinks makes them privy to this information, right? Like, they never explain that. You just have to accept, like, this website just sort of feels like it was, honestly, it feels a little bit like a honeypot, maybe. I don't really know. It's weird. So it goes on to say, yet, despite all these undeniable facts, you claim that you already know what the truth is. That is, just like how you know for a fact that 1 + 1 = 2, you also claim that you know for a fact what the truth is. So, how the hell is that possible?
Good question.
Actually, the 1 + 1 = 2 thing is a good question, and how the hell is that possible? Well, that's because it's an eternal truth, but that's for another podcast. Well, via compartmentalization, you are able to acknowledge the fact that government secrets exist and that secret societies exist, while simultaneously claiming that you somehow already know for a fact what the truth is. Wow, talk about being irrational. That basically boils down the intro to Truthism. It's half soapbox, half berating the reader for being a fool with slavish devotion to authority. That's what a good amount of this website's about.
Yeah.
Now, were you wondering? Were you going to say something about what their thoughts on science are?
I mean, I think they seem pretty. I think a lot of the science stuff was from before they were born, so they honestly shouldn't have an opinion because they won't be able to know it.
They seem to somehow know. I don't know how they did it, but they seem to somehow know. So just follow with me here.
Okay.
Science must downplay the significance of the government's power because it is of the utmost importance that the ignorant followers of science who are not in the know, such as the common atheist, think only within the framework of status quo reality.
Sorry. What branch of science is downplaying the government's power?
I think just science itself. So
okay,
go ahead and write that down.
Yeah, what the fuck does that mean?
Well, I don't know because I'm an atheist and I fucking love science.
Yeah.
So that this really shook me.
This feels like they're like science is subbed in for some other word here. Like it feels like they were like, I know they're not, but they're like personifying science as this like monster
Capital
behind
S science.
Yeah, it's really strange. Anyway,
it is
continue.
strange. These are the things that made me go like, is this satire? Is somebody pulling a joke? I don't think it is satire or a joke, but it feels like we really found the optimal conspiracy theorist to really, really freak out anybody else who thinks about these kinds of things, who thinks in this way. If they found this website, they'd have like a breakdown.
Yeah. I'm about to.
Sorry. If science did not downplay the significance of the government's power, then people would quickly realize that science is bullshit and that the status quo conception of reality is also bullshit. In other words, if people knew what really goes on behind the scenes, then they would quickly realize that science is just another form of control, courtesy of the ruling elite. Now, I don't really know what that means. I'm not sure what branch of science is downplaying the government's power.
Yeah.
That is definitely where I'm confused. It could be biology. I haven't checked in on biology in like recent memory.
Yeah. I think it's theoretical physics.
Could be.
They're just really they're really trying to confuse atheists about the power of the government. That's what I'm pretty sure that's what theoretical physics is.
I just don't know what theoretical physics's motive would be there. I think it could be. I respect your opinion, but let me tell you this.
Okay.
I think it could be exercise science because what they want is for people to just assume that science, or they don't want people to assume that science has the answers. But exercise science, they can shill all their supplements and all that. So I'm wondering if it's big exercise science who is sort of trying to keep everybody under their thumb and downplaying the government and downplaying the. What I'm getting lost. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I'm with you.
Take a note here, by the way. Note that the only people offended by this kind of anti-science information are those who worship Earth's authority figures. By the way, do you have your authority figure? You've got all your favorite authority figures in your shrine set up.
Yeah, I've got the Dalai Lama back here, and also I'm talking spirit. Are we saying wait? Are we doing because spiritual leaders are on this wall, and like political leaders are on this wall? So which one are we doing?
Well, authority figures, that really just depends on what kind of authority you love to lick the boot of.
Yeah. So, the ones I like the boot of, I keep on the floor because that's the easiest kind of way to do that.
Best access, right? Yeah. I'm a Jeff Bezos guy, so I really like to gas up Amazon. I've got an Amazon Shrine. I have like a mannequin's head with a bald cap on. And I put essential oils on my hands and I just slap that fucking thing as I go by.
Yeah. And you give it a little kiss goodnight.
Yeah, a little kiss. Get the oils all over my lips. Kind of helps me sleep at night. Tingly though.
Yeah.
No,
those Amazon Basics oils aren't of the purest quality, you know?
Well, that's not fair to Amazon. They're trying their best. Although these people will explain away such an accusation by claiming that science is synonymous with rationality and therefore is simply the best way to seek the truth. In actuality, however, science is merely pseudo-rational. Science rejects the existence of certain phenomena, not because these phenomena aren't real, but rather because the truth about these phenomena would incriminate the ruling elite. So science is a fascist form of truth-seeking, and you pseudo-rationalists worship the dictatorial authority figures of science. Now, I'm not totally sure which phenomena it is that science is dismissing. I'd have to assume it would be things like UFOs and flat Earth.
Yeah,
things of that nature.
Yeah.
But they don't really tell me.
But they keep talking about the scientific authority figures. So I guess that's like Neil deGrasse Tyson,
Elon Musk.
Yeah.
Sorry, that one didn't even. I was trying to make you laugh, and you just sounded dismayed, and I get it. So at this point, I think you pretty much get what this truthism idea is about at its core. With that as a given, what are some deep, uncomfortable truths that we can learn from this truth seller, or whatever they call themselves? In the section titled The Continuity of Power and Earth's So-Called Ancient Mysteries, we begin to learn about who truly controls us.
Fuck.
Let's be very clear. Ancient beings have controlled us since before the written record. Whoever these ancient beings are, something that that'll be revealed shortly. They created all of the ancient wonders of the world. They named the pyramids, Stonehenge, etc. Those are the only two they list. Not sure if there's any others that count. If they listed more, I could tell you if they counted. These beings are also the creators of the world's most popular religions, by the way.
The Egyptians?
Well,
the beings in charge.
These beings.
Yeah.
And they have an order here that I thought was interesting. So the most popular religions that are created by these beings, it starts with Judaism, mentioned first and foremost. Second is Christianity. Third, Islam, Hinduism, and then Buddhism. I kind of got the vibe that the author was torn between calling attention to Judaism first and trying to list the religions in order of favorites or perhaps best to worst. So it was like, first we got to mention Judaism. We got to blow that whistle as hard as possible. And then we'll list the religions in order of my personal favorites. That's sort of how I felt. And Christianity,
so this guy's very anti-Buddhist. Okay.
Yeah, and we'll get into this, but they have a whole weird thing with atheists too, but I think they don't respect anything that is Eastern, probably. That's the vibe I got.
Well, it's fun. You could do a fun chart where you like lay out conspiracy theories by how much they both exoticize or hate Eastern culture. Like, because there are so many that like love it really deeply and think, don't love the actual thing. They love like
how they can use it in their conspiracy.
The couple little things that they picked up from like history class in 6th grade, and have never actually had interaction with the actual culture. And then there are these other ones that are just like, all that shit's evil.
All that shit's evil. I mean, and the thing is, if there was a sliding scale between those two things, I don't think you'd find a single conspiracy theorist of this nature smack dab in the center.
Yeah, what
I just don't think that that's possible.
I don't even know. Just like someone who's entirely ambivalent, like nothing positive or negative to say about anything like in the Eastern Hemisphere.
Yes, the evil Anunnaki alien beings do rule the earth and our reality, But I gotta say, very even keeled on all these different religions. Got a very even hand on that. So importantly, these beings have controlled us for thousands of years, well before we were born. We kind of established this, right?
Yeah.
How can we possibly understand this deception if it stretches back before prehistory? And how can we understand how these beings shape our fundamental reality if we're so deeply mired in the deception from birth? That's what I was asking myself reading this. Well, luckily, we have the truth messengers like the hero behind Truthism. So we follow this up with the big reveal. Humans were created by reptilian aliens, also known as the Anunnaki.
Okay. Yeah. Known.
You know much of the score here. The idea is that you have been indoctrinated to believe science truths and authority truths. These prevent you from knowing that the reptilians truly run the joint. I don't have to rehash all that here. People are probably pretty familiar with that. If not, go check out our other episodes on this stuff. We've covered this topic quite a bit.
Yeah.
And in case you're wondering, not going to get deep into this, but yes, there is eyelid blinking analysis as proof of the reptilians on this website.
Hell yeah.
In this example, they use clips of a newscaster named Susan Roberts. So shouts out to Susan Roberts. Sorry. I looked at that and I was just like, I feel bad for Susan Roberts. Don't know who you are, but I imagine a scenario where I was Susan Roberts and I came across this website analyzing this one time where I had like a weird video glitch or whatever that caused my eyes to look funny for half a second. And some fucking weirdo took that and did this whole thing with it.
Would you rather find an entry for yourself on WikiFeet or on a reptilian analysis webpage?
WikiFeet.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think with WikiFeet, it would be this feeling of, I don't like it, and it's also not my thing, but Godspeed, I guess, if people really like that. And there's also the potential to really start making money off that. If I have a popular WikiFeet page, if that happens, I could potentially make some money off that. I don't think I would, frankly. I have very average looking
Does
feet.
WikiFeet charge? Isn't it?
Well, no, I'm just saying that
starting an
if people really like OnlyFeet, then I could do an ankle down OnlyFans. I think that could be an easy conversion for me.
Yeah.
If I'm on a reptilian conspiracy site, something has gone dreadfully wrong. And the wrong people, I have the attention of the wrong people.
That's fair.
Feet people can be a wide range of human personality, I do believe. So probably some good people who just are like, I gotta log in and really look at these feet before
I guess there is no like moral. I have no moral judgment
I know
on a
you're
foot
not.
person.
I know you're not.
There is an obvious moral thing on like getting deep into reptilian conspiracy.
Yeah.
So that is kind of it almost feels like I was setting up an old like comedy Bang Bang Would You Rather, where I was going to keep revealing layers of how horrible it was as you tried to answer. That's not really that much of a hard.
The actual maybe worst possible world is landing in the foot section of a reptilian conspiracy website. That could be, because if there's good people on the WikiFeet, cool, that's fine. You're probably chill. If it's a bad person who's also into feet and reptilians, then there is layers of issues here. So anyways, Godspeed feet people, but you will never see my feet unless you want to pay for it. Let me know. Email me how much you're willing to pay for my feet, and we could maybe talk business. What's the going rate? Now, I sort of brought this up before, but one of the notable Truthism flavors here is that for some reason they get really nasty when any religion is brought up. I think except for Christianity, they get a little weird about Christianity. You'll see what I mean. But they also seem to have this disdain for common atheists, which is a term that popped up. The vibe seems to be that the only gods the author recognizes are vicious, evil aliens, which we'll get to that too.
So what is the definition of a common atheist to them?
I'm assuming they're actually picturing an I fucking love science Facebook page member.
Okay.
Is my guess. I really don't know. They just are saying anybody who's a an atheist.
Yeah, this
Common
person
atheist,
is just like trying to like I want to know what the good what are the good tags you can have for this person.
I think I know what that means because for them, sort of in a way, it makes sense to be atheistic about the reality we're in. Now, if we were in a different reality, which we'll get to this, then you shouldn't be atheistic. Then you are closer to the domain of a benevolent God in a way. We'll get to it. So here we have some more information on the reptilians and religion. The reptilians bounced around from culture to culture as they created Earth's religions. So there are many religious references to certain gods. The Asian dragon, the biblical serpent, the Native American Shetty and Snake Brothers, the Gnostic Archon, and the Indian Naga are all mainly based upon the reptilians. And in many cases, the reptilians even desired to be directly worshipped. However, they did not want to be directly depicted, so people often use symbolism such as snakes in order to depict them. But most importantly, a lot of ancient evidence has been intentionally destroyed or tampered with, and for obvious reasons. Once again, you were born only within the last 100 years, so before you had even arrived on the scene, much of the evidence of humanity's true past had already been deleted. So evidence of this worship of the reptilians is disappearing.
Yeah, it's been hidden from us, and we know this, but we can't. We know this because they're telling us, but we can't know it because it happened before we were born.
Yeah, I'm sure the British didn't lose it somewhere or whatever. It's probably been destroyed by the elites to prevent us from knowing the truth.
Well, it's with the Ark of the Covenant in that big warehouse.
Yeah. So here's the other thing for me. There's a lot of different animals depicted in ancient cultures in a sort of deified way, which leaves me wondering if your argument, I shouldn't say argument, if your concept is that these ancient cultures depicted their rulers as serpents, but they represented snake people, what about the other humanoid animal mythology creatures and legends? Like, are there bird aliens in the mix, and that's how Egypt landed on Horus and Thoth?
What's a chimera? Like, come on.
I don't know. They do mention on the website that there's other alien races that the reptilians interact with, but they never get explicit about what those are. So maybe the bird people are from another star system or something. I don't know. Yeah. Anthropomorphized animals are this sort of common mythological things. I wonder if in another 100 years or so, will conspiracy theorists look back on this age and say, wow, they find the furry fandom, everybody was rolled over by sexy wolf people with huge cocks. Is that what they're going to find?
I mean, there are so many people that want to make, this is not an attack at you in any way, shape, or form. I realize I come off that way. There are so many people who really want to like have these lofty ideas of like how we'll be looked at from in the past, like looked at now from people far in the future. And like, it's a fun intellectual exercise. But like, you can't really try to figure that out ahead of time. What's going to survive is entirely random.
I'm very pessimistic here. I don't think that there's going to be people in 100 years looking at us. I think I'm very pessimistic, but I'm just saying the same rule should follow. They're logging on. They're on fandom.com.
Yeah.
And they're looking at some of the most popular artistic depictions online. Mm-hmm. I bet you that's going to be a lot of furry artwork. Probably. And they're going to be like, wow, this sexy wolf guy must be a god to them.
Yeah. And this
Go ahead.
You can tell who's most powerful by the size of the knot.
Yeah, that's yes, exactly.
This must be the supreme being.
Yes. So they also They also point to the helix DNA symbol as representing the serpent, and they specifically refer to the caduceus. I don't know how to pronounce that, but the medical serpent intertwining symbol.
Yeah.
They basically say that this is one of the ways that the reptilians get represented in our symbolism, especially in ancient times. But the other point to get out of it is that this serpentine structure is built into our very physical being as a sign of the reptilians' design in the form of DNA. So I guess that even though the reptilians don't want to be depicted in their literal forms, they did want their symbolic forms put into us, and they made sure that the fundamental building blocks of humanity mirrored their image. So if you want to go and look at the Bible, which the author of this does not have a very high opinion of, by the way,
figure. Yeah.
You could say, oh, man built in my image. Well, they mean the DNA strands that are serpents. So,
yeah, okay. I mean, here's the thing. Out of all of the wild ass interpretations of that kind of shit,
that's the one you believe.
That one at least is fun. Like there's an internal logic of it. I'm not saying it's good, but it's entertaining.
It is entertaining.
Yeah.
Now here's a funny tidbit that I'm not sure we've heard on the show before. The author riffs on a bunch of classic things that he considers evidence of the existence of the reptilians, and that's going to be a lot of different things, but of course UFOs, ancient hieroglyphs, artifacts that depict things that people interpret as being UFOs or extraterrestrial, classic shit like that, right?
Mm-hmm.
But one of the things that they cited was the first recorded crop circle in history, or what gets interpreted as a crop circle phenomenon. This was apparently recorded in a pamphlet in England in 1678. Did we talk about this on our crop circles episode? Because I don't remember if we did.
I don't know if we did in depth or anything, no.
Well, on this thing, it's this pamphlet. There's an image that's depicting a humanoid devil creature mowing grass, and then it has text on it and says this: being a true relation of a farmer who, bargaining with a poor mower about the cutting down 3 half acres of oats, upon the mower's asking too much, the farmer swore that the devil should mow it rather than he. And so it fell out that very night, the crop of oats shewed as if it had been all of a flame, but next morning appeared so neatly mowed by the devil or some infernal spirit that no mortal man was able to do the like. Also, how the said oats lie now in the field, and the owner has not the power to fetch them away. So overnight, this farmer's oats got mowed by a mysterious unknown being that they attributed to a devil.
Okay.
There's a section on Mars, by the way. They talk about the Mars faces,
Hell yeah.
I do believe they're pulling some stuff they learned from Richard Hoagland, although they don't go too deep. They just show a lot of pictures and talk about it a little. They reference the periods of Mars and Cydonia, and they compare them to landmarks on Earth, which I think is to suggest that the reptilian design reaches beyond Earth and into the rest of our solar system.
Mm-hmm.
And they never explicitly do sacred geometry stuff, but I suppose what I was extrapolating was that the pyramids in the face and all these things have some meaning or utility for the reptilians, although I don't know what.
Fair.
They also make a line in the sand between the reptilian ruling elite and the people who have the power to stay close to them. So these would be humans, right? And these are people they call the pseudo-elites. So any human who is powerful enough to have an audience with the reptilians operates through secret societies like the Freemasons to exercise control on behalf of the true ruling class. These are the truly freest people in our society, and they have also shrugged off the weight of morality, which is very important for this person. These people have no morals.
Oh, God.
So by dropping care for your fellow human, this allows you to operate provided it pleases the reptilians. You have enough power, you are immoral enough, you can do whatever you want as a pseudo-elite. Now, the site never explicitly, I think, says the operate in plain sight type thing where conspiracy-related symbols are placed in everyday life so that people are prepared for when they take over and usher in the new world order. They don't explicitly say this, but they do that thing where they provide examples of how elite secret societies place symbols in things to probably do the hiding in plain sight thing. They don't get too specific. But I wanted to mention it because they compare the Freemason symbol to other symbols in society, especially companies. And there's a bunch of
like the Gmail thing and the like.
It's not Gmail. It's not Gmail. Although I know what you're talking about. It's a couple companies that are boring. There's like a workers' union symbol that they compare it to. But then my favorite and their first example is Sonic, America's Drive-In, which if you look closely, you'll find that the triangle symbols mirror the Freemason symbol if you flip the Freemason symbol on its side. So whoever owns the Sonic chain is clearly under the thumb of the reptilian.
Oh, of course.
Here's a couple more.
The reptilians love the cherry limeade.
Yes. If you talk to them, if you talk to the reptilians, they'll be like, yeah, the food's not great. The chili dog's okay, but we're really there for the drinks. That's what Sonic's all about.
Yeah, you can make all sorts of drinks there. Yeah. They love that.
So here's a few more truth bombs that you may not be aware of, Niall, okay?
Great.
The dinosaurs were created by the reptilians thousands of years ago before one of the reptilians' latest restarts of civilization. The dinosaurs were used in order to scare off other alien races from coming to Earth, and also to kick out the aliens that were already living on Earth. Once the dinosaurs had served their purpose and the reptilians had Earth under control again, the dinosaurs were disposed of, i.e. made extinct. The dinosaurs were not and are not a one-time deal and have been created by the reptilians and then subsequently destroyed by them many times in the past.
On Earth or elsewhere?
On Earth. I don't know if elsewhere, but they're talking about Earth here. Moreover, the dinosaur fossils that are found by scientists are from only the latest batch of dinosaurs. Approximately, Chet, you're gonna like this because we've talked about this before. But again, there's a little twist, I think. Approximately 1/2 of the human beings on Earth, about 3.5 billion people. Hey, I think your numbers are off. I don't know if that's even right in 2014. Are organic portals.
Oh God. Okay.
The half of human beings are soulless human beings who keep real human beings in line with the status quo on agenda with the Matrix control system.
God, you gotta love an idea that just makes half of all humanity not people.
NPCs, as the really cool people online call them. We have a quote here from somebody named Thomas Cox from montalk.net. That's MONTALK. I have not looked into that site, but here's what they say. Organic portals form the backbone of the Matrix's social control infrastructure. They're what keeps society running in a state of preoccupation with the mundane. From cradle to grave, souled humans are pressured to stay with the status quo and not ask dangerous questions. So you plant a bunch of soulless humans that just do follow the directives of the reptilians, and the social pressure makes you fall in line. That's the idea. What I really like about this, though, is they say, they have no true free will or individuality, and they're used unknowingly by the reptilians. And then it says, you yourself may be an organic portal.
Yeah.
Think about that.
Yeah, you might not actually be a person. That's
that's the message.
It's such a dark
solipsism
view.
Yeah, it's a bad way to think about the world.
If anyone out there is listening to this and has some sort of thought or belief system that thinks of any of your fellow man as non-human or somehow secondary or less than you, please reconsider that belief. It is one of the quickest ways to become an absolute monster. And yeah,
I think of some people as less than human, but I'm very selective. Yeah. It's hard not to think of Elon Musk as not being less than human, but I understand what you're saying. Now, I just want to say that if you're an organic portal and you're listening to this, I want you to shut the podcast off immediately, please. We only want souled humans listening. Now, hold on to your ass, because this is where we're going to really depart from reality. The site then explains that humans have souls, or at least 50% of them do, and that I don't know how I'm going to tell you right now, don't try to make sense of how this would work at all.
Mm-hmm.
The reptilians don't create our souls. They merely create our bodies. Okay? That's step one. These souls come from other realities and planets. This is important to know when they drill down on what our reality is and who created it. So, who created our reality, Niall?
The Matrix. So the architect.
The Matrix is a part of it. The architect of the Matrix is a thing, but let's get a little more specific. Also, it was a rhetorical question. So, darkness, also known as Satan or the devil, created the universe. This includes the higher non-physical dimensions too. He is holding all of us captive inside of it. The true creator of existence lives in a different realm, the true realm. The universe is indeed a crude pseudo-creation, and everything in it is based upon programming, for example, DNA. There is no programming in the true realm because it is not a virtual reality, it is simply reality. In the true realm, crude concepts such as time, biological life, karma, and physics do not exist. Love how that implies that karma exists in this reality, though.
Yeah, and it's also that what do those four things have to do with each other?
They're just saying that in the true realm, things that we would take as a given law of reality are not a thing.
Yeah. Okay.
Only darkness, who is a pseudo-creator, would create a realm that is based on such things. Anything that is technical or governed by rules or restrictions, which, by the way, is everything in this universe, with the concept of karma being just one example, is crude. The true creator does not need to rely on any rules. That is why this universe is the Matrix. It has rules. It is a virtual reality as opposed to reality. So, just to sum that up, there is a true realm that we do not have access to where there are no rules, just right.
Mm-hmm.
We live inside the Matrix, which is designed by darkness, aka Satan, who has to impose rules because they are a crude creator. Got that?
Crude, I believe crude and rude. Yeah.
Crude. CROOD from the movie The Crudes. When one dies, then goes on to the astral world, the fourth dimension, in between physical incarnations, they are still inside of darkness's universe. And even if one ascends beyond the fourth dimension into a higher dimension, they're still inside of darkness's universe. The only way to get out of the universe and into the true realm is for the universe to be destroyed. One cannot ascend into the true realm. The false realm that darkness created is... Oh, I forgot about this. The false realm that darkness created is made up of 12 universes. What we call the universe in which we live, is merely one of the 12 universes. Each of the 12 universes is shaped like a flat, five-sided pentagon. Okay. The universes are flat relative to each other. The 12 pentagons, universes, are connected together, forming the 12 faces of a dodecahedron. A dodecahedron is a polyhedron with 12 faces, where each face is a pentagon. So,
how do you know? They've been around since before you were born.
I think
I'm just going to keep throwing that in at random points because it's just funny to me. But yeah, go ahead.
I think they're getting this from somebody else because, so first of all, a little snag in this some of the only hyperlinks in the page lead to another website, not the same website.
Mm-hmm.
And that's where you get the explanation of the 12 universes theory. And this is coming from another conspiracy theorist named Amitabh Stanford.
Yep. Oh my God. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. I've read about Amitabh Stanford.
Yeah. It's a lot. And to talk about it in a fulfilling way, we don't have time.
Yeah.
You would have to talk about ancient Greek geometry and philosophy and some other stuff, the way that they sort of contextualize it here. Mostly to talk about why it's insane. But I definitely want to talk about this in a future episode. I actually, behind me on the shelf here, I have a book on ancient aliens theory as it specifically pertains to ancient Greece.
Oh, shit.
So I will try and look into all of that in a future episode, including Amitabh Stanford. So we'll get to that someday.
There's I believe there's like a good chunk of Amitabh Stanford stuff on our biblioteca.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. I found an archived Amitabh Stanford website from like
2006. So, and it's the nitty gritty of the 12 universes theory and a bunch of other weird shit that we don't have time for.
All right.
But just understand that there's 12 universes here, and it's shaped like
because they're flat, but also like, this is we're one step away from fucking Men in Black. We're all in a bag of marbles in a locker in the Grand Central Station.
Orion's belt, yeah. Guy who has only been to the website Time Cube. This is giving serious Time Cube vibes. Now,
really an interesting sequel to Time War by Captain Kirk himself.
Have you not? Are you familiar with Time Cube?
Yeah.
Okay. I didn't know. So, getting back to some more stuff that we're familiar with, we need to understand that our souls originally belonged to the true realm, but are trapped here in the realm of darkness. This is a classic Archon Anunnaki thing where like our souls get recycled and we have to break out of the cycle. But what I think is extra funny about this person's version is that they basically say it's purely negative. There's no ascending your consciousness. You have to destroy the universe to get to the true realm.
It's such a hopeless version of that whole theory. Like,
well,
we went through. We did an episode on like the Matrix, like ascension stuff where you're karmically recycled forever ago, but that had like
the hope that people could elevate their consciousnesses.
But if I remember correctly, once you got to like the 9th density or whatever, you like started over, but in like a new deck basically. So like it was still never ending. Yeah, you just kind of new game plussed it. So maybe it's not that different.
Yeah. So those people have some hope that we can salvage things, and this guy's saying no, we have to destroy the universe. And I just this person who wrote this is, I think, hopeless.
Yeah, they're a real accelerationist.
Yeah. So none of the rules of the reality we live in are inherently true in the true realm, and so the author suggests that you should not respect them. They straight up say you do not have to respect rules because these don't exist in the true realm. Any rule that's imposed here is done so by the darkness. Now, despite the author's open disdain for pretty much all religion, they have some interesting stuff to say about Jesus Christ, who I would call sort of the squad leader for Christianity. Here's what they say. Jesus Christ, an actual being who is simply a truth messenger, had his name hijacked by the reptilians. They used him as a character in their These are his words, not mine. They used him as a character in their perverted brainwashing bestseller entitled The Bible.
God, you got to put that on like a flap on the cover at the bookstore. Perverted #1 bestseller. Oh my God.
Oh fuck. For disinformational and metaphysical reasons, the reptilians decided to use the name of an actual truth messenger for their fictional Son of God character. And importantly, that's SON of God.
Yeah.
The irony here is that a messenger of the truth was used in order to spread lies. Sun worship, SUN, existed long before Christianity. Unfortunately, though, Christians are too brainwashed to realize that Christianity is just another sun worship religion. SON equals SUN.
Oh, yeah. This guy's watched Zeitgeist. I get it.
They have some examples of how Jesus is connected to the sun here. On Earth, I really like this one. On Earth, the sun rises in the east. And in Christianity, the resurrection, the rising of Jesus, the Son/Son, SON, is celebrated on Easter Sunday. That's
I love
coded
that shit.
into the thing.
It's so
so good.
Yeah,
I love it.
You were able to find, like, you circled stuff in your words. Good job, buddy. It's so
find the word.
Yeah.
On Earth, the winter solstice is the symbolic rebirth of the sun, and in Christianity is claimed that Jesus, the Son/Son, was born on December 25th, the date on which the ancient Romans marked the winter solstice. Note here. In ancient Rome, the winter solstice occurred on December 25th, but due to calendar slippage, the winter solstice now falls on either December 21st or 22nd, depending on the year. So we're a couple days off.
Yeah, the whole there's a lot of stuff with time. I was hoping he was going to get into phantom time shit here, but it seems like he's just talking more about like the rearranging of the calendar over the years.
Yes,
which is fine.
yes.
All right.
There are Christian symbols of a cross that includes depictions of a halo of light surrounding it. This is obviously a sun. Christ on the cross is a sun, S-U-N, on a cross, and his outstretched arms are spread like a shining sun, S-U-N. So
the outstretched hands being rays of this, like, are you talking about the cartoon depiction of the sun with the points on it? Like, what are you talking? Like, it's so silly.
It doesn't make any sense.
This is not.
These are the kinds of things that made me think I was reading a parody, right?
Yeah.
And again, I don't.
But
think
this is also the stuff like that kind of stuff is in like zeitgeist. Like this is like accepted in certain circles of conspiracy theory.
I do remember a person in high school telling me I should watch Zeitgeist. Yeah, I have a vivid memory of that and being like, okay, man.
I tried to rewatch it as a goof for this podcast like years ago, and I couldn't make it.
Insanely boring.
It's so boring. I can't do it.
Jesus was hung. He was this big.
Jesus Christ, Kyle.
Sorry. I did the Christ pose.
Yeah. He T-posed for me.
Now there's a section after this on waste.
Okay.
It's long, and I don't want to get into it, but I'll boil it down for you. Humanity is a wasteful species. This is by design of the reptilians. Our virtual reality puts us on a path of wastefulness for all the reasons you would expect. That is control, preventing world peace, and then nourishing the Anunnaki who thrive on our wastefulness. And the way I thought about this is like, this could be sort of a negative energy feedback loop, which the negative entities can then feed on. They don't say that in so many words, but it's the sort of similar idea. Here's a fun section. Have you ever wondered how sleep paralysis works? Because you can forget the scientific explanations. Remember, science is fake. We've got a real explanation. When your mind wakes up from sleep quicker than your physical body and you feel someone pushing down on you or watching you, it is a reptilian or other kind of alien in the fourth dimension. If your mind wakes up quicker than your body, then your mind cannot exist in the third dimension because your third dimensional body is still asleep. Thus, your mind switches to the fourth dimension and is able to experience fourth dimensional reality. Right now, we are in the third dimension, and when we die here, we go to the fourth dimension, the astral world. The fourth dimension feels just as real as this, but the rules, darkness's rules, are considerably different over there. So, when you have sleep paralysis, your brain is, your mind, your astral body, which I guess is a part of your mind, is half awake in the fourth dimension and can see the reptilians and stuff. So,
sure. All right.
We've also got Hallworth stuff, nothing new there, but then we get a new thing that was honestly, this was the thing that made me want to talk about this website because I'd never heard this before. The sun is a cube.
Excuse me?
The sun is a cube, not S-O-N. We talked about S-O-N, S-U-N stuff before. I mean the S-U-N that we can see.
All soul itself?
Yeah. Here's what they say. The sun is a cube, not a sphere. It only appears to be a sphere because it is spinning at a high velocity. All suns, i.e. stars, are cubes. Darkness intentionally designed the universe like this because on a metaphysical level, cubes, or more specifically their 90-degree right angles, create strife, confrontation, and confusion.
What?
So...
you start to just wonder, because this guy, whoever this is that wrote all this, is just cribbing bits and pieces from a bunch of other different places and kind of mashing it together.
That is, I think, exactly what's happening here.
This is the first one that I can't place a source on, you know?
Same. I don't know. I've seen stuff about people taking geometry and like ascribing metaphysical things that influence reality to them in conspiracy stuff before.
Yeah. Like even the Hoagland Mars stuff has like certain angles are specifically important and do things.
This one, but the sun thing, I don't know. This is, again, I wonder if maybe they saw Time Cube and they were like, this guy's kind of spitting. with the time
anyone,
cube stuff.
If anyone has where this was cribbed from, send Dick it's weird podcast at gmail.com.
I wouldn't. So they go on to explain some evidence of cube sun theory. So here's what they say. The Nazi swastika is in fact a cubic sun cross. That is, it is a sun cross that depicts a cubic sun, as opposed to how typical sun crosses depict a spherical sun. Furthermore, there are actually other sun crosses that are similar to the swastika, but they represent circular, spherical suns rather than a rectangular or cubic sun. Whereas a basic sun cross is simply a circle on a cross, the Nazi swastika is, in actuality, the following: a square on a cross, the square being one side of a cube. Broken up into 4 arms, with the 4 rectangular arms representing the fact that the sun is indeed rectangular, and then tilted at a 45-degree angle in order to represent the spinning motion of the sun. And on the Nazi party flag, the swastika is inscribed in a circle in order to represent how a cubic sun creates a spherical image when in motion. In addition, the Nazi battle flag contains a swastika inscribed in a regular sun cross. So none of that makes sense, right? Yeah. They've got a bunch of examples of like Celtic sun cross and all these ancient, like the Norse sun cross, whatever these fucking things, and how they all relate to the Nazi swastika. And it's like, I get, and you know that like there's the black sun or whatever that's associated with Nazism. I think that's where they're getting that. This is another thing that the Nazi stuff was specifically, I think, from another conspiracy theorist. So
yeah, but
it's total nonsense.
I just remember from early on in this episode, you mentioned there's a section on women, and we haven't hit that yet. So I was going to say, if you're not already offended, I do have the women's section. Fantastic.
So I'm going to recommend men turn off the podcast here. I have special access just because I'm the one who is the truth teller of this. Actually, I don't want to associate me thinking anything true.
This episode has been for people who don't actually know Kyle. There's been some borderline slanderous things said in his name. So maybe we'll keep from doing more of that.
So I think I'm gonna live not read some of this, but you'll get it. You will get it. We're going to end basically on the section for women.
Okay.
It's like when Tim and Eric put their Zone Theory cult book out, and they went on the circuit saying, like the advertising circuit, and they were basically like, oh, we're going to make a women's only edition right now, but if you're a woman who bought this book, you're not allowed to read it. So this is kind of like that. This is the podcast section that only women are supposed to hear. And really, again, this is about this person truth telling.
Yeah. Maybe
they want women. I mean, I think they're assuming that men are reading this. Anyways, here's what they say. Niles got his head in his hands.
I'm stealing myself.
Yeah,
I'm holding on to my chair.
Well, again, think about this as a punchline. For all the vile nonsense that I've read so far, just think about the person who wrote this and what their life is probably like, okay?
Yeah.
Quote, women are ultra impressionable beings and therefore are easily controlled by aliens and the elite. The main purpose of women on Earth, that is, what aliens have programmed them to do, is to enslave men via relationships. Women are obsessed with relationships and love due to alien programming and don't care about anything else in life. They would have men believe that being in a relationship is one of the most important things in existence, not realizing that men couldn't care less about being in a relationship. I mean, this dude's telling on himself.
Oh my God. Yeah.
And rightly so. Furthermore, women force men to waste their precious time and resources on them. This demonic charade, i.e. relationships, has gone on far too long and obviously has no end in sight. Thus, you can blame women for the downfall and utter hopelessness of humanity.
Now, do these women have souls in this, or are they just agents of the evil?
They do make it sound like they're all just agents of evil. I mean, yeah, I think that is maybe what this person is implying.
I don't exactly know how this, like, I first of all, this all sucks, but we're taking that as read, right? Like, that we all understand that. But when you start to try to align that text with the stuff that's come before it about the makeup of humanity and the influence, like, I don't know exactly how that all functions. Like, it doesn't, I don't think it tracks. I think this guy just at the end of it started to yell at women. Because,
I'm actually going to skip this part. I'm rereading this now, and I shouldn't say this. It goes on to say, this person, I'm telling you, they are just straight up telling you everything you need to know about them. Quote, another thing that makes women insufferable is the fact that they are essentially babies. That is, they possess the emotional maturity of a 4-year-old boy. Women cry, throw fits, and need men to take care of them. Adults shouldn't need other people to take care of them. All in all, women promote the enslavement rather than the liberation of humanity. It's bad enough that aliens and the elite already control us. Now, throw women into the equation and you have absolute misery. They are like sheepdogs helping out a shepherd. And then they use the term bitch. And to think women are actually proud of their controlling ways, what a disgrace. So if you're divorced, right?
Yeah.
Or, okay, my suggestion to people out there is to try not to get divorced. Like, I think if you're getting married, your goal is to probably try and stay together and be loving and kind.
Bold
to
of
one
you to
another.
assume this person got married.
Well, okay, sure. Look, what my suggestion is to not be a huge fucking loser piece of shit that merits getting broken up over for thinking these kinds of things. It's just a suggestion. Sorry, I don't want this to sound like I'm judging like divorced people, but my read on this guy is that he's a huge asshole who was dumped when they were writing this, and deservedly, and so women factor into their insane conspiracy thing.
This to me reads like a person who has tried to ask out people on a date multiple times and gotten shut down and never like it's very.
I get what you're saying.
Yeah,
I'm gonna go ahead and say I think that this person got rejected one time and like pissed their pants and like ran home and got really upset about it. Probably.
Yeah. Wow.
So, I don't think that they were insistent. I think this person, maybe they were, but like, I guess my point is that I don't think they have the fucking, stones to be insistent. I think this person's a fucking loser.
This is really some of the like, I mean, it's just bullshit. It's just like
yeah. Sorry, I didn't
know.
These people, the people who write these really fringe conspiracy websites in this nature, there's always a couple things that they really want to rail against. Usually it's Islam.
Yeah, that's
a lot of the times it's Islam or the Jews. This is, I think, the first time we're like, yes, there is misogyny in the text of what these people are saying. This is the first time where I'm just like, no, I am a misogynist, and I am a misogynist for a conspiracy reason because the women are evil, like servants of the reptilians. Never seen that before. Totally new thing for me, and I just couldn't believe it because it's like towards the end of the website, and I'm just like, oh my god, this guy got in trouble in some way with a woman and went online about it. So the rest of the site is much of the same stuff we've already described, talking about needing to break through to the real truths of reality, whatever. All the stuff I just described. The kind of summary at the end is don't fall for groupthink, reject group culture. They even say you should create an individual culture defined by truth-telling and accept that the universe we live in is totally false and ruined.
They know that you can't have an individual culture. Culture is literally a thing that exists
not according
because
to
of
them.
A group of people.
Not according to them. You have your own personal culture.
I'm bringing my own belief system into this. I'm taking a belief system and forcing it onto these facts that are, yeah.
Look, I'm just glad you recognized it. So, yeah, not like I said, there's some silver linings in a lot of these similar conspiracies about breaking through with your consciousness. Mm-hmm. This site is exclusively negative in every single way. There isn't much we can do other than know the truth about the reptilians, maybe hope to destroy the universe one day, and, get a website hosted on GoDaddy.com to spread the truth.
Yeah. This is one of the more pessimistic, like nihilistic conspiracy theories that we've come across.
Well, and this is probably why this person is such a big Schopenhauer A to Z quotes reader. Yeah, no good advice on how to break through the matrix other than suggesting you should question everything and hate women. Sorry, that's it. This particular truth teller is, I'll say it. I hope they're dead. The website's been offline since 2014. So that's truthism.com.
Wow. All right. Fucking whack journey.
Yeah, pretty interesting stuff. And by interesting, I mean stupid, I guess. Are you ready for a big question?
Yeah, hit me.
Truthism.com has been offline since 2014, and so the guy who made it is almost definitely dead. How do you think the author died?
Hopefully a group of women who read this website found him and compromised him to a permanent end.
Yeah. That's good ending.
Yeah.
I'm gonna give you true ending.
Yeah, go ahead.
So I think this person was walking around a park, right?
Uh-huh.
And maybe he saw a woman,
and just
he instantly got so fucking angry that he didn't look where he was going, and he stepped in a bucket. And the bucket sort of slid him around, sort of like Shaggy in a Scooby-Doo cartoon.
Yeah.
You might be able to picture that. And as he slid, his face ran into a tree branch, and he sort of fell back and arched his back. And as he hit that tree, a hornet's nest fell out of the tree and fell onto one of his flailing hands.
Mm-hmm.
And the hornets were stinging his hand, right? And swarming around. He's got this nest on his hand. He's just flailing around. He's kind of falling back. He then falls onto his back and starts to roll down a hill. And on the hill are piles of poops from dogs, like dog shit.
Mm-hmm.
And he's sort of accumulating a giant snowball of dog shit around his body. And then eventually as he rolls, he gets a big enough ball of dog poop. And then he goes into the skate park and he kind of does a big jump off of one of the ramps.
Yep.
And he flies into the cubic sun and dies instantly.
Oh, that's really good. Yeah. I mean, look, that cubic sun that's spinning so fast it looks like a sphere that's a new one to me. God damn.
Yeah. Yep.
All right, so this guy burned to a crisp in his cubic sun.
Yeah,
that makes sense.
Dead. He's probably dead, which I'm glad of.
Yeah.
It's a weird episode.
Yeah, this is a weird energy for the end of the podcast. Weird energy. I just started imagining trying to make a joke out of someone who's never been trained taking every wrestling finisher from an entire company.
Sure. No, that would be
so
good.
So they don't know how to take a bump, and so they're not bracing their neck correctly, and they just get murdered.
No, that's a good. I mean, that could be look. We're talking about multiple endings here, and we have 12 universes to get.
Oh,
through.
True.
And this guy is dead in every single one of them. So
yeah,
we could just brainstorm ideas all night. So that's definitely one of the universes.
Okay. Yeah. So you're gonna get hit with a burning hammer, and you're not gonna know how to take it safely. All right. Fuck it. Let's go and take care of some business.
Sounds good to me.
If you want to follow us on social media, we're on Twitter at IGW Podcast.
You can follow us on Facebook.com/ItGetsWeirdPodcast.
And we're on all your favorite podcatchers. If you listen to podcasts somewhere, look up It Gets Weird, and we're almost certainly there.
We're on Blue Sky as It Gets Weird. We're technically on Twitter still. It Gets Weird Podcast. Or I think IGW Podcast. So give us a follow there. It's nice when we have some followers and stuff, and people reblog or whatever our posts about episodes. Get the word out there. Twitch.tv/itgetsweird. I've been crazy busy, and so is Colin. So we'll be getting back to streaming our Pokemon Nuzlocke run real soon here, but it might be another week before that happens. But give us a follow there, because we do like to do some fun Twitch streams every once in a while. Email us, itgetsweirdpodcast@gmail.com. We have been getting so many stupid emails that suck from people who don't listen to the show, and I really want to hear from listeners. So please email us. Let us know how we should refer to you. If you write in with something, tell us a story, tell us, thoughts on something. Let us know. We'd love to hear from you. And if we like what you send us, we'll probably read it on the show. Finally, most importantly, patreon.com/itgetsweird. You can support us. We need your support. We have a $2 tier and a $5 tier. We also have a $1 tier. The $1 tier is just a tip. You're just saying, hey, love what you do. Here's $1. Thanks for everything. But if you want content, we have a $2 tier and a $5 tier. At the $2 tier, we have It Gets Weird TV, where right now Niall and I are about to finish Neon Genesis Evangelion. We're like T-minus a handful of weeks away from finishing Ava and moving on to a new show. And when we're done, you can then vote on what weird TV we watch after that. So we get on there and we discuss that. That's what's at the $2 tier. At the $5 tier, you're going to get It Gets Weird TV plus another show in the off weeks called World of Weird, where Niall and I talk about whatever the hell we want, anything we want. If you like our tangents, it's kind of like that, but for an hour or so. So check it out. $5 tier, most bang for your buck, most bonus content, huge back catalog. But whether you donate to the $2 tier or the $5 tier, you get access to the main show 2 days early on Friday instead of Sunday. And you get access to the Discord, where we're hanging out, chatting with listeners like you. People reach us there directly and talk with us about UFOs, conspiracies, all kinds of stuff. If you can't donate, though, please tell your friends, tell your enemies, tell your congressman all about It Gets Weird Podcast.
All right. Thank you all for listening. Thank you for continuing to support the show. This has been It Gets Weird, and I've been Niall.
And I'm Kyle, signing out.
Peace.